story, the Trade Unions Congress TUC has warned that Ghana could face a nationwide water crisis if the government fails to take decisive action against illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. The caution follows a fact-finding visit by the TUC to the Kwanyako headworks of in the central region and the Enum Apapam community in the eastern region, two areas where sections of the Ayensu River have been heavily polluted by illegal mining. The team's visit came after the recent reopening of the Kwanyako water treatment plant, which had been temporarily shut down due to excessive turbidity levels that made treatment impossible. TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansah described the situation as alarming, noting that pollution from illegal mining is threatening the operations of several water treatment facilities across the country. He called for intensified enforcement and stronger political commitment to tackle the menace. He urged President John Mahama to declare a state of emergency to address the crisis and hinted that the TUC may be compelled to take drastic action if the government does not respond swiftly. The TUC leadership is expected to meet after completing a nationwide inspection of treatment facilities to decide on its next line of action. Let's take a listen. I'll bring you that soundbite shortly, but we were speaking to some residents also who have expressed their frustration at the situation. Listen to them.
Yeah, by yanting who she kusis nea is a polity. It is a mopedia. Moving who said no quarren near Cadia, Chiremusa, Crosso Mountains, Mufro Mountains, or Bohon. And sana moving who said near Cano and Ukare revise ni tida forest num. Omudasutu Missy.
Omudanano, Eko to baby fofro. Omudanano, as I got to baby on that pan and Nemun dear, and you on a debut. Yeah, almost diverting. Yeah, I'm feeling penny for Ukrum. Or that in penny for the say Caribbean penny for. Oh, say my baby, I beckon see a Mobecca say mobile boy bed. A bedu baby will be a beba. Some bet to me the Munesi form. Now say back me boom baby, I do my bit match maybe a money if you bad ya. Yes, who Krumanum. You cocoa. Ultimate Sans soon said I ultimate Sans on Cram from Boko Consuelo. Yes, we cocoa say. Ultimate Sans no and senior ultimate unsure. Yeah. Kruman for can once or can.
So those were some residents expressing their frustration with the development in regards to water in their community in the central region. We'll take you back to the earlier details from TUC that had visited the place. We'll bring you that shortly. Now, Dr. Kwabena Otu is the Deputy General Secretary of TUC, and he joins us live to speak to us on this particular issue. So we'll go straight to that. Hello, Doc. Thank you so much for your time. Now, what necessitated this surprise visit? Well, we'll try and connect with Dr. Kwabena Otu shortly. Now, the Attorney General is currently prosecuting about 1,500 cases of illegal mining following a series of arrests made by the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat this year. This with steps ongoing to set up special courts to decide these cases. Government says it is aggressively dealing with the menace head-on. Christian Yale reports.
The arrests include 28 persons who were illegally mining in the Cape 3 Point Forest Reserve, with several mining equipment seized and confiscated across the western region. Government says the operations of the Blue Water Guards and the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat are being intensified with a possible legislation to fast-track Galamsey cases.
The law is the law, and if you break the law, there will be consequences. We're talking close to 1,500 arrests over the period, and the Attorney General is working on prosecutions. This week in Cabinet, there was a bill that was laid for special tribunal courts for specialized cases, and you can bet that illegal mining is going to be one of them. So in the coming days, when Parliament resumes, we're going to see that bill laid, and we're going to see faster prosecutions for illegal mining cases.
The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources says it is prioritizing stakeholder engagement with detailed plans to sustain the fight. These kinds of engagement are going to be done almost every week, to ensure that the public is well abreast of the issues. They're going to ensure that over 400 personnel from NIMOS are deployed to all of these security zones as well as the hotspot to prevent other galamseyers from going to this site.
Water bodies had been declared security zones. Currently, we have about 400 trained personnel from the NIMOS team, and based of that conversation, we are deploying all 400 of them to these security zones. They have been categorized into 21 hotspots nationwide, and the teams are currently deployment is ongoing. The teams are going to be kept there permanently. And so we are not having a case where they go into the forest, they clear them, or they go on the water bodies, they clear them, and the miners have an opportunity to go back.
A special hotline has been set up to receive complaints from members of the public on Galamsey activities in their neighborhoods.
So that report was by my colleague Christian Lally. We can now listen to the TUC boss on their tour earlier today.
Stop collectivism. The responsibility to stop what is an obviously crime enterprise. Civil society groups can only highlight the dangers of Galamsey and do general advocacy, but they cannot stop Galamsey. The chiefs can only assist, but our land tenure system has decentralized and the ownership of an extent where centralized control by any single chief is almost impossible. Say it's government fight. All of us will and must help, but the government cannot outsource the fight. In the few weeks, the TUC will outline measures to support the fight against Galamsey. At the core of these measures will be to exert maximum pressure on government and its agencies to act decisively on Galamsey. Comrades, this ends our statement. Decisively and must act now. Galamsey must stop. Enough the meetings, enough the advocacy, enough the talking. We need action now. Action! To stop Galamsey. The structures of TUC will meet after this very important tour and take and make a very decisive decision on the way forward with the government. Thank you very much.
So that was TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansah speaking there, expressing their concerns about the issue of the impact of illegal mining after some fact-finding mission in the central region. Now, joining us via phone is Pakwesi Shandov. He's a spokesperson for NIMOS. Pakwesi, thank you so much for your time. Over 1,500 cases, the Attorney General says, is handling on illegal mining. That shows that a lot of effort has been made with regards to illegal mining. Would you say you are winning based on these numbers?
Absolutely. Now, if you look at the total number of arrests that were effected in the past administration compared to now, it is relatively less. Indeed, if you also look at the total number of prosecutions that took place in the erstwhile administration, it was absolutely nothing to write home about. Basically, out of the total number of arrests that were effected, unfortunately, I'm not able to disclose the number immediately, but out of the total number of arrests that were effected in the Eswell administration, only 4% of prosecution went through out of the total number, which was even really nothing to write home about. But as of now, like you rightly indicated, there's been over 1,500 arrests so far. And the good news is that all the arrests that have been affected, they are at various levels of prosecution. We will all agree that generally the legal system that we have here and the prosecutorial protocols sometimes can be a bit cumbersome. Indeed, that is why the Attorney General, when we engaged the CSOs last week, said that plans are far advanced to actually roll out a specialized fast-track prosecutorial tribunal so that mining offences will be dealt expeditiously. I am not able to disclose certain concrete details on the prosecutions to you, but the assurance we can give is that before the end of the year, every arrest that has been effected, every person who has been labelled an illegal mining offender will certainly have verdict passed conclusively in that particular respect. And so there is progress. You can see, for example, that Akonta mining, that particular case, there is a lot of energy and action in it. All other related cases, big or small, are expeditiously being worked on. And so it's only a matter of time that we'll clear the backlog. And then with the establishment of the tribunal, whose conversation is being fervently had at Cabinet, we should have a system where now, if Kofi or Ama is arrested for a mining offense, in a matter of weeks, that person should be behind bars if he or she is found guilty.
Interesting. But Pakwesi, despite these arrests, we still see the turbidity levels in the water still high. You heard TUC also raising concerns over they are threatening nationwide action if this issue is not addressed. It appears your arrest is not enough, don't you think?
Well, so the arrest is only part of the raft of interventions that we have introduced to deal with the menace of illegal mining. And so it is not all encompassing. The fact that we are arresting does not necessarily mean that we are going to have a miraculous turnover overnight. But you see, when it comes to the turbidity levels, in particular, the reality is that it is true. There are certain areas where the numbers are escalating, but there is also record to show that at certain places it is improving. And that only goes to confirm the arguments we've been making so far, that the devastation that deepened over the last 8 years can certainly not be miraculously transformed within the period of time that we have been in government. And so the progress certainly will be steady, it will be slow, but at least we are getting somewhere. So we admit that, yes, it is true, there are certain places that the situation is still worrisome, but are there also places where we've had very remarkable results? Yes. And we are so we're going to continue with that momentum. And like the sector minister has always been saying, the fight against illegal mining is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And so it's only a matter of time that we'll cover all areas and have results that cut across every water body.
It's good that you admit that it will take a while, but you also would admit that the president perhaps rushed during his campaign trails when he said that he would not jail Ghanaians who were involved in illegal mining, especially now that you have arrested over 1,500 Ghanaians who were involved in illegal mining. What do you say?
I think we should work with the current conversation. The current conversation is very simple, that anybody who is an offender of the laws, where the environment is concerned, where mining is concerned, you will simply be dealt with. The conversation about whether or not our current disposition is in contradiction to what had happened in the past, I think, if you ask me, it's not a progressive discourse. Right now, let's look at what the government is doing. Indeed, the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, currently, everybody can obviously see that he has that political will to deal with the menace of illegal mining. Why am I even saying that? As we speak, Michael, we have currently the third national chairman of the National Democratic Congress and the party's organizer who have become subjects of interest in an ongoing investigation with respect to illegal mining. Yes, categorically and separately, they've denied their involvement. But for the fact that they are still being interrogated under the authority of the president, it tells you that this is somebody who is going to crack the whip regardless of whose ox is caught. And that momentum is what we lacked in the past 8 years, where the leaders of the day were actually authorizing illegal money because apparently party, Nyasika, and all of those. Right now, we don't have all of those narratives. The president is committed. Mama Kofi Boa, the sector minister, is equally committed. So I think we should take it up from there and engage and question the results from the dispensation that we are in.
Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with admitting when you get it wrong, don't you think? But away from that, there are some Chinese nationals that have been involved in all of this. We've seen quite a number of them in the arrests that you've made. What are the updates with them?
Yes. So let me just the update is quite comprehensive. I'm not sure we would have the time to go into war, but let me just fall on or work with the ones that we arrested this week. So this week, for example, in the operations of NIMOS, the Chinese who were arrested, they were immediately transported to the NIMOS headquarters here in Accra. As I speak to you today, Friday, 10th of October, which maybe happens to be my birthday as well, what I can tell you is that they have been they have gone through the necessary protocols of interrogation. Their statements have been taken accordingly, and then from Monday we'll give you a firmer update on the prosecutorial part for them. You see, again, like the Attorney General said, sometimes the difficulty is because of the interlocked nature of our justice delivery system. But for now, there is a special dispensation that the AG has provided, a new roadmap that he has provided, given to the ministry, so that when cases of this nature come, they are expedited. And so it is in that spirit that it is in that part that the Chinese who have recently been arrested are being taken through. So hopefully by Monday we may actually publish concrete data or maybe concrete information on the prosecution so far. It is not only them. The Chinese are not the only people involved in illegal mining. We have local collaborators as well. In fact, those who were even arrested in the course of the week. I think, is it today or yesterday? Forgive me if I'm not able to mention specifically, because we've been dealing with a lot of information in the last 4 days. I think it is even today, 28 more were arrested. All of them are being filed. All of them are being processed. Next week, we'll give you full updates on the various levels of the prosecutions.
All right. Thank you so much, Pakwesi Shandov. And a happy birthday to you anyway. Where's the party happening today?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So that's Pakwesi Shandov. He is the spokesperson for NIMOS, bringing us some updates on some of the efforts that the committee is making to address the issue of illegal mining. Now, away from that, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Bernard Entry Boesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, has been released from police custody after spending 3 nights in detention. His release follows his successful fulfillment of bail conditions in 2 separate illegal mining Galamsey cases currently before the High Court in Accra. The embattled NPP chairman is now facing multiple mining-related cases, including allegations of unlawfully undertaking mining operations and facilitating environmental destruction in the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Chairman Wontumi had earlier failed to meet the bail requirements imposed on 7 October 2025 by the Criminal Division of the High Court. On 7 October 2025, the Criminal Division of the Accra High Court, presided over by Her Ladyship by Justice Mary Mami Ikia Yanzu, granted Chairman Wontumi bail in the sum of 15 million cedis. Shortly after being granted the 15 million Ghana cedi bail, Chairman Wontumi was rearrested and rearraigned before another high court on fresh charges. He and 4 others have been charged with 7 counts of illegal mining-related offences. Chairman Wontumi pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of mining without a license, abetting the unauthorized felling of trees and abetting the unauthorized erection of buildings in a forest reserve. He was granted a bail of 10 million cedis with 2 sureties, while the case was adjourned to 4 November 2025. As part of the bail terms, the court ordered that he be placed on a stop list at all entry and exit points of the country, pending further directives. We'll bring you updates on that particular story as it develops in our subsequent bulletins. Now, Asin Central MP Ohene Agyapong has picked the top spot on the ballot for the New Patriotic Party's upcoming presidential primaries, followed by Brian Champon in second place. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia secured the 3rd position, with former Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Duchum drawing the 4th slot. Former General Secretary Kwabena Eje Japong took the fifth and final position in the ballot. The balloting exercise, supervised by the party's elections committee, officially concludes preparations for the flag bearer contest ahead of the NPP's National Congress. The various campaign teams have since shared their own interpretations and the significance they attach to the position. Akwesi Kwarteng speaks for Ohene Agyapong.
There was just 5 candidates. It was an open process, and the candidates had representatives. They had the opportunity to select or pick a number, and we will submit on two phases. In terms of even visibility on the ballot, from the one we have always maintained that our campaign is right. And so, I mean, for it to be one, we believe there's even more
But next step of your campaign?
We are going to sell the number, we are going to campaign, we are going to complete the We believe that sovereignty resides in over 200,000 delegates. We are going to tell them the message, the currency of the party, and the needs that are always maintained, and Ken has always maintained, that even in the state of revival, we need a new face, and that face, even from the balloting, clearly shows that Ken now wants to
the new face, Kennedy Agyapong, what is he bringing on board?
Kennedy is bringing, I give you 3 things. 1 is jobs, 2 is jobs, 3 is jobs.
You told me earlier that the number on the ballot really doesn't matter, but here you are saying that number 1
there has not been any contradiction. Initially, I told you that we are not so much expectant. We are also not fixated with any number. I'm saying that even after the balloting, number 1 gives us another advantage in terms of marketing, in terms of PR, in terms of visibility on the ballot. And those ones are things that I'm sure we have the right to state them clearly. I'm sure you even agree with it.
But you also mentioned a while ago that your candidate in the 2024 elections was at number 1 and he still lost. So it could really be a disadvantage to you as well, don't you think?
These are 2 separate elections, 2 different dynamics. But you see, the reverse is that from 1 to 3 also, who will rather be lost. This time we will rather move from our original position, this time we are number 1. That should send a strong signal.
So that was Akwesi Kwarteng speaking on behalf of NPP flag bearer hopeful Ohene Agyapong, giving some connotations to his number 1 position on the ballot ahead of their primaries. Now, Kwame Owusu, a member of the Ohene Agyapong campaign team, however, insists that the position on the ballot does not really matter. Take a listen.
It is only people who believe in superstition that will go on. We are number 1, so we are winning. We've done this business before. I'm not new to this process. I've gone through series of elections. As a matter of fact, the last time, 2023, I was a campaign manager for Ohene Agyapong, and we picked number 1. But we were not number 1 at the end of the day. So number game doesn't mean it's a process that you have to go through, and people should not be complacent. They should go back and work and give the message and let the people listen so that they can be elected.
So here, Kwame Owusu there from the Ohene Agyapong campaign, and he says that the number on the ballot box, ballot paper, plays no role. At the end of the day, the issues are on the ground, and you have to get on the ground and get the people to vote for you. But then the Bawumia campaign team has expressed a similar view, saying the order of names means little in a contest based on merit and performance.
Positions don't matter. If people want to vote for you, wherever you are, they will look for you. For me, for marketing purposes, the first one and the last one, because of a Sierho and a Sroho. But otherwise, I told you that any position that you are, people who want to vote for you will look for you.
You're also emphatic that will make it easier if you're down or top.
Why not? Why not? Of course, a Sroho or Sierho, but really, it doesn't matter. People will look for you wherever you are, if they want to vote for you. Yeah.
You're confident that your candidate...
The last time people were at number 1.
Who were those people?
Who was at number 1 in 2023? You should know.
You tell me.
You should know. Do your research. And what happened to them? So really...
So it appears number 2 and number 3 on the ballot paper seem to agree that they are just numbers and do not necessarily reflect the actual results at the end of the day. But let's listen to Fosu Asamoah, a campaign manager for Ohene Agyapong, what he also thinks about the 5th and final slot that they picked on the ballot paper.
Oh, certainly no. You know, these numbers are only to identify the position of your preferred candidate. Except that in the past and in our political history, all the numbers come with their own slogan. Was it in when President Kufuor was coming to power? The number that he picked happened to be the last on the ballot box, so we used the slogan Asieho, Asieho. So at the time of coming to power, our slogan for the party was Asieho. In this circumstance, what has transpired, we picked number 5, and for that matter, we'll be at the bottom of the ballot paper. So certainly, we're also going to perhaps go by Asieho, Asieho. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's a way of selling the candidate in a political balance in this country.
So there you have it there from Owusu Asamoah. He's the campaign manager for Ohene Agyapong, also expressing his indifference about the position that his candidate picked on the ballot paper. But let's speak to political scientist and analyst, Professor Smart Sapon, to pick his thoughts. Prof, where do you sit with this? Does the position candidates pick on the ballot paper really reflect how the elections turn out?
Well, a very good evening to your good self, Michael, and to our cherished listeners. I think I agree with the sentiments that the representatives of the aspirants have said. Largely, as we know, even if position had any effect, it was at the initial stage of our Fourth Republic where we were experimenting democratic elections. And illiteracy was high and all those things, and people struggled to locate the position of their preferred candidates. Now, we've been through elections as a republic, Fourth Republic, on 9 different occasions. And year on year, we've realized the insignificance of the position of aspirants on the ballot paper. Wherever you are, if people really want to vote for you, they are able to locate you and vote for you. Sometimes when the ballot paper becomes too tall and long with so many political parties, we have increased numbers of rejected ballots. But in their case, only 5 people. Check the Electoral College, delegates. Strictly speaking, position wouldn't matter much.
Prof, but don't you think there's also the psychological part of it? You heard one of the spokesperson for the aspirant say that in the past we had the Esro, Asieho. Don't you think all of that resonates with delegates and maybe can play a subconscious role in influencing who they actually vote for at the end of the day?
Yes, for the marketing purpose, yes. But if I am going to vote for maybe number 2 or number 3, when you are doing your marketing Esro, Asieho, and you don't actually convince me as to how or why I should vote for your candidate, and you just keep ranting Asieho, Esroho, and the person at number 2, number 3 have communicated their visions and aspirations to me well. Now the choice is for me to look for where they are and vote for them, and not just to go for the Esroho or the Asieho. In fact, people have been at Esroho and they've won and lost before. People have been at very, very difficult positions, number 7, 8, and they've still won. So they should focus, in my view, on reaching out to the delegates, convincing them, sharing their visions and aspirations to them, and making sure that they are at the ballot to come and vote. It is only then that their position will count. And even in the case of delegates, so to speak, I'm not sure positions would matter much. Whoever is, if a delegate, carefully selected leader of their party at the various branches, wants to locate one preferred candidate and vote for the person, I'm not sure it is going to be difficult. So advice to them is to, reduce the sensations around the numbers and the interpretations they are assigning. Go to the people, share with them your visions and aspirations, and help them to be at the poll to vote. Then your position, locating where your aspirant is, will not be a problem.
Okay. But Prof, you've spoken about the importance of the candidates actually going to the grounds and engaging the delegates to get them to vote for them. But realistically, looking at how things have gone, especially for the NPP, it's just about a few months after a major defeat. Early next year, they are aspirants are the presidential candidates, for want of a better word, are going to the polls again. Do you think this 1 year period is enough for them to have regrouped and to sell themselves enough for the delegates?
Yes, for me it is enough a time. Like I said earlier, we have been through this 9 different times. In the early 1992, they didn't participate much, but you can still say MPP lost. They learned their lessons, participated in 1996, lost. In 2000, they won. 2004, they won. So in summary, what I'm saying is that they've experienced defeats and wins before. You can say same for the NDC. So for these 2 major political parties, a recent defeat will not be the first time they are experiencing it. And I'm sure if you go through one thing 2 or 3 times, you build adaptation or, say, immunity of a kind for it. So for me, I would have been extremely surprised if they stayed on the defeat for quite a long time. Why? Is it defeat you've not seen before? Or the government, the intensity of the defeat, or what? So they've seen defeat over and over again. They've seen victories over and over again. And I think one of the best decisions the National Council have taken in the life of the NPP is to have put this thing somehow behind them early, try to regroup by electing a leader or a flag bearer so that the rebuilding and the regrouping can be done around the leader who will be elected in January. I think it's one of the best decisions they've taken.
Interesting. But, Prof, before you leave us, now, we've heard of the Council of Elders monitoring committee and the likes trying to whip everybody in line with regards to the flag bearers. I don't know, what do you make of this particular move by them? And really, if you were to speak to the MPP right now, what would you say they should be mindful of ahead of the January 31 primaries?
I'm going with the assumption that it's better late than never. Else I would have thought that the elders, wherever they were, have quite delayed in intervening. But, like I said, it's better late than never. Let's see, going forward, how their presence and monitoring of the various campaigns by the aspirants would calm down the situations. And to the aspirants, it is quite unpopular to try to destroy a colleague to gain favor. You would have done that in an external election like a political party versus another political party, but in an internal election like this, they should stick to the issues and try to sell their ideas and visions for the Republic as well as their party. For me, if you are given 30 minutes to talk to delegates, anybody that spends a lot of time destroying the other is not a politician. They should stick to the issues. These are delegates. All the things you are saying, they might even know better than you. So just stick to the issues. I'm sure they are going to pull the brakes on the, the insinuations, the insults, and all those things. And the assignees or agents of the aspirants, other than the aspirants themselves, who speak and do all those things, cause the distraction and the noise in the system, must also be monitored by these Council of Elders who are on that journey. They don't have to only focus on the aspirants. They should as well monitor and tame those assignees of the aspirants who we hear talking and insulting each other, have set up their own radio station, like social media or YouTube station and all those things. They should expand their work.
All right.
To all those people.
Thank you so much, Prof. You hold on for us. We just understood that the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman, who was just released on bail, has been throwing his weight behind one of the candidates. Let's listen to that.
Dr. Agyapong. Is number 3. All the delegates, we are pleading with you for our future president, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. It's number 3.
Number 3.
And the 3 is the lucky number. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you heard the Chairman Wuntimi, Ashanti Regional Minister of the NPP, who was just granted bail after being released from jail for some issues with regards to illegal mining, and he's openly thrown his support behind Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Prof, what do you make of this? Interesting times, huh?
Right. So, two things. I would have wished, it's my position consistently, that if you are a party leader to some extent, you are supposed to remain neutral throughout the exercise. But Chairman to me, has consistently taken a position, and I'm not sure it's the first time we are hearing him declare for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So it's kind of no news. Yes, he is the current regional chairman, but I think openly in the past, and even when the process commenced, he has chosen Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and has consistently and openly maintained that position. So not much of a news. We see some other important personalities, MPs and co, also distributed behind the aspirants, maybe not evenly, but almost every aspirant has one influential person or MP or persons who are supposed to be neutral following them. So maybe it's internal. Once they've opened themselves to it,
okay,
quite belated. But let's see its degeneration being controlled. Yeah.
All right, Prof. Thank you so much for your time. That was welcome. Professor Smart Sapon. He's a political analyst, and we also have joining us in studio my colleague Martin Asiedu-Date. Martin, in over a decade of covering
politics, you mean?
Politics and elections, both internal and national. How different would you say this particular one, especially with the MPP, is?
Coincidentally, it looks as though the internal issues of the party are not resolved yet. They are not entirely resolved yet, but the party machinery is eager to get a leader, because ordinarily, if they had a flag bearer from the last election and that flag bearer wasn't being contested, then you can say that there's still a semblance of a structure. But because now it is an open for all contest, then it means they have to go back to the books and make sure that they have a flag bearer. Then after that, they're going to have positional elections for general secretary, national chairman. All those elections are going to be had after the elections. So it will be after that that they can now say that they have a key structure in place to get the party running. The acting those in power right now are all seeking re-election, so their rhetoric is different.
Yeah.
And if after such a monumental defeat in the last elections, you are unable to iron out your differences, and instead of having one voice speak, you're hearing different voices from the party,
especially even amongst the candidates themselves.
And then some are apologizing, others are saying don't apologize because we actually did well, so what are you apologizing to Ghanaians for? It clearly tells you that internally it's not all rosy. They don't have a clear plan yet. The thinking some of us are gleaning from the party is that if they do have a flag bearer, then at least that would help them streamline all conversations to come from one source. But right now, any party that loses an election, people who are pained or had issues before the election, everybody wants to express themselves. And you remember Sarah Adjoa-Safo, for instance, some were saying they were trying to gag her, preventing her from expressing her thoughts. She believed even right after the election, when they put up a committee to investigate why they lost, she thought that in itself was problematic, because then they are going to find a way to pin the defeat on one candidate, the candidate she supported, that is Dr. Bawumia, and she didn't even, so she started doubting the report even before it came out. So it tells you there are issues happening in the party. If they are able to resolve it early enough before the elections, all the better. But if not, probably after January 2026, when they have the flag bearer and they do have their internal elections for executive positions, they may then start taking steps to iron out the differences. But as it stands on the ballot, it tells you that if those who believe in numerology and say that this position favors this candidate, etc., you cannot believe that entirely. If you look at how Ghana's election has been over the last few years, I am still quite surprised at the percentage that John Dramani Mahama got from the last election, because he was number 8 on the ballot.
They argued it was his new beginning. So,
and then ordinarily, people would have looked up So number 1, number 2, number 3. But for people to skip all of that and go straight to number 8, it tells you that the Ghanaian electorate is very discerning and aware. They know who they want. And even if you place them at the back of the ballot paper, they will still vote for them. So now that we have just 5 individuals, we can only hope that they structure their messages to touch on issues that are of concern to the delegates. Then it can help them.
On a lighter note, I'm now curious to know who Adjo will be voting for or rallying behind this time around.
Yeah, Adjo has always been a supporter of Dr. Bawumia. So it's very likely she will go out full guns blazing and campaign for Dr. Bawumia.
Against Ohene Agyapong?
Yeah, they've had their differences. They are still good friends politically, but then I think that her support has always been for Dr. Bawumia.
That's quite surprising, considering the fact that he was the reason why she won her last elections against someone. Story for another day. But anyway, final thoughts on Chairman Wontumi coming out of jail and rallying behind Dr. Bawumia. Would you call that a betrayal, especially considering the fact that Brian Achampong played a critical role in his release the other time?
You cannot really tell why or why not. It's quite surprising, yes. But you've also known that he has also been a supporter of Dr. Bawumia. You don't know. Usually, it is some of us are able to read in between the lines and say that because when NPP was in power, the likes of Chairman Wontumi were empowered. They had the leeway to do a number of things freely. They feel that the support and the power they had to do what they were doing as regular Ghanaians, or party supporters, was because the Jubilee House was supporting them. And a key individual who was supporting Chairman Wontumi when they were in power was Dr. Bawumia. So naturally, his support will go there. But it raises the question of when he was first arrested by Iyoko for his issues, almost all these key individuals played a role to try and get him out. So it will be difficult for him to divide his support. You have to pick one, and probably of all the lot, he felt that Dr. Bawumia was the key.
But some will argue that he could have just plead the fifth on this and let sleeping dogs lie.
He can't.
Well, we'll see how all of that pans out. That's my colleague. Thank you so much, Martin. I see you do that. Your regular host of Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. It's time now for the business segment, and my colleague Bismarck Awusa is on standby to bring us the latest from the world of business. Stay tuned.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Coming up tonight, Ghana to receive additional $385 million in disbursement to support economic reforms after IMF Executive Board approval. I am Bismarck Awusa. Time for the details. Ghana is set to receive about $385 million from the International Monetary Fund following the successful completion of the fifth review of its 3-year program under the Extended Credit Facility. The disbursement, which awaits Executive Board approval, will support ongoing economic reforms as the IMF commends Ghana's progress in stabilizing the economy, strengthening fiscal discipline, and restructuring the energy sector. The following 3 Business News Desk report has more. 150 basis points policy rate cut and ongoing efforts to rebuild reserves and ensure financial stability through the recapitalization of state-owned banks. Atoyan added that Ghana's governance diagnostic assessment has been completed and will be published soon, urging authorities to sustain reforms in the gold, cocoa, and energy sectors. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Moving on, the West African Civil Society Forum has called for reforms in investment treaties to promote development and climate justice. The forum identified that international investment treaties with West African states are often rooted in historical power imbalances, restricting African nations' sovereignty over their natural resources and limiting their ability to protect the public interest. The call was made at a gathering of civil society organizations from 13 African countries and hosted by Action Aid Ghana in collaboration with the Center for Research on Multinational Corporations, SOMO, both ends and donor initiative for sustainable development. John Nkao is the country director of Action Aid.
As the continent continues to bear the brunt of climate challenges or climate change disputes, being the lowest global emitter, participants call for urgent action to correct these imbalances and promote climate justice. Terminate obsolete bilateral investment treaties, otherwise referred to as the international investment agreements, that undermine national interests, sovereignty, and public good. Government should renegotiate or withdraw from treaties that fail to protect their communities and environmental rights. Additionally, we call on our key stakeholders to prioritize industrialization and value addition in the extractives and manufacturing sectors to ensure that African states capture greater benefits from their natural resources.
And that was Country Director of Action Aid, John Nkao, bringing us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Thanks for your company. Sports listeners, please stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Andrew Sefa Bamfo. Let's start off from the camp of the Black Stars, who are currently preparing for their final game of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Ghana, who lead the way in Group I, have 22 points and have all but secured their spots at the 2026 Mundial. Now, ahead of Ghana's final game against Comoros on Sunday, Anthony Bafo, who is the founder and general secretary of the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, as well as former Black Stars defender, believes the team is stacked with talent who are capable of competing on the global stage.
Absolutely. Ghana has a lot of talent, and back in the days they came to the inter-school system, which they are reviving. I also work for the FIFA, the talent development scheme. It's an Arsene Wenger project. The FA has subscribed to that, and they're doing a lot of projects. So it is very, very important. If you build a house and you don't have a foundation, there will be a problem with the house. But now we have come back to the drawing board. We are taking from grassroots, and players like Kudus, Kamaldeen, Salisu, Alidu, and many others are very, very important. But I know that let's talk about sometimes also about those who were born abroad, like Jiko. He's a warrior, he gives everything. But summa summarum, I think there's a lot of talent in the team, and they have to continue being closely together, and then we see what the next steps are. But first of all, let us seal the qualification to go to.
And so that was Black Stars former captain Anthony Bafo speaking. Away from the Black Stars to some Ghana Premier League related matters, because Asante Kotoko's head coach Karim Zito has revealed the ambition of the team in the ongoing season. Kotoko, who are currently on 7 points after 4 games, but show league leaders Heart of Lions by 3 points ahead of their clash against Nations FC on Saturday in Abran Kese. Zito says the target of his side is to win the league in the ongoing season.
Not the supporters. The club itself set that target. Kotoko doesn't deserve even second. What Kotoko deserves is to win the league. You understand me? So we've set the target for ourselves that we should win the league this year. And that is what we are chasing now. as a president, you have to always aim at something so that it will propel you to work towards that issue. So the target we set for ourselves is how we are fighting to achieve it.
And so that was Kumasi Asante Kotoko's head coach Karim Zito speaking. Now, finally, before we go, just by way of update in the ongoing 2026 World Cup qualifiers, Ivory Coast stamped its shells by 7-0, while Gabon narrowly edged Gambia by 4-3 in a 7-goal thriller. Senegal also put up a 5-star performance to ease their way past South Sudan. Meanwhile, goals from William Trust Ekong and Akko Adams gave Nigeria a 2-1 win over Lesotho, bringing an end to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. The show continues after this.
And on that note, that'll be all for today's edition of Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, please visit our website, s3news.com. I am Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for listening, and as always, please stay safe and have a great weekend. Good evening.